Tomorrow Never Knows by Kevin Hadley. Prologue. 5 o'clock in the morning, an hour before sunrise. All is quiet in a seaside town on the south coast of England. The moon is bright, and the streets and gardens and houses are full of shadows. In the darkness of the park, someone is sleeping on a bench. In a house near the beach, a tired old man is looking out of his bedroom window. Downstairs, the old clock in the hall chimes. Across the street, another man is sitting in his kitchen drinking tea, looking at a birthday card. On the other side of town, a teenager is opening the front door to his house, afraid it will make a noise. Out at sea, there is a storm, and it is coming this way. Tuesday morning, Chapter 1. Eastbourne in early autumn is a pleasant place where the sun shines and the air is warm. But that Tuesday morning in September, it wasn't such a place. It was cold and wet. Mark Thompson was tired. At 5:30 he was asleep on a bench when a policeman woke him and told him to leave. As he walked along Blenheim Terrace, the rain blew into his face. His feet were wet, and he was hungry. He knew the street well. He looked at the buildings. Most of them were hotels with large windows. In the summer they were full, but now they all had signs offering rooms. Thompson thought about the warm, comfortable beds inside and the hot breakfasts on the dining room tables. Among the hotels there were some houses. One had an open door. It was, he remembered, the Coutts house. He stopped and wondered what to do. After a minute, he walked slowly to the door and knocked. There was no answer. As he was looking inside, an old, grey-haired man was watching from a window across the road. Chapter 2. Emergency services. How can we help you, Mr. Benham? Terry Benham. I need the police, please. OK, I'll connect you. Terry Benham waited for 10 seconds. Eastbourne Police, how can we help you? I think there's been a robbery over the road, said Terry Benham. There was a man there, and he was behaving suspiciously. He looked like he was homeless. He was looking around outside, and then he went in. When was this? A few minutes ago, and he's still in there. Do you know who he is? No, I've never seen him before, replied Benham. OK, sir, we'll send a patrol car to the address. In the meantime, please stay where you are. If the man leaves, you will have to tell the police, and they'll need a description, and don't approach him. Chapter 3. The paramedics found Mark Thompson in the kitchen, sitting on a chair, looking at a body. I'm Mike, and this is Jeff, said the first paramedic. Are you the man who called for an ambulance? Yes, replied Thompson. Has he moved since you made the call? No, said Thompson. I think he's dead. OK, said Jeff. You've had a shock. Let's go and sit in the other room. I'll check you, and Mike will take care of things here. As they were going into the living room, there was a siren outside. What's that? asked Thompson. Sounds like the police, said Jeff. Are they coming here? Thompson asked nervously. I expect so, said Jeff. But it's standard, don't worry. Terry Benham watched as the two policemen entered the house. They went straight to the kitchen. I'm PC Nichols, and this is PC Heron. We've got a report of a robbery. A robbery? That's strange, said Mike. We got a call from that man in there, saying he needed an ambulance. I should go and speak to him then, said PC Heron, leaving the kitchen. What happened? asked PC Heron after he had introduced himself to Thompson. Thompson was explaining to PC Heron what he found when the paramedic came from the kitchen. And? asked PC Heron. He's dead. Thompson put his head in his hands. "It's a nightmare," he said quietly. "Do you know who he is?" asked P.C. Heron. "I think he's called Henry Coote." "I see," said P.C. Heron, taking out his notebook. "What happens now?" asked Thompson. "We'll have to check some things," said P.C. Heron. "Do you need me?" asked Thompson. "Yes, you'll have to wait here. We'll need to talk to you about what has happened." P.C. Heron walked with the paramedics to the ambulance. "Are you sure it was him? Did he call the ambulance?" asked P.C. Heron. "Yes," said Jeff. "Who called the police?" "Someone called Benham. He lives over the road." "Probably that man," said P.C. Heron, noticing a grey-haired old man standing outside his front door in the rain who was watching them. "And he reported a robbery?" "Yes." "Well, it didn't look much like a robbery when we arrived," said Jeff. Chapter 4. When Detective Inspector Bell and Detective Sergeant Pierce arrived 5 minutes later, P.C. Heron came outside to meet them. "It didn't take you long to get here," he said. "We were very close, at Mario's Cafe. We were having a late breakfast," said D.I. Bell. "Shall we go inside?" said P.C. Heron. "Just a minute," said D.I. Bell. "What's waiting for us?" P.C. Heron explained what was inside. "So, we have a dead body in the kitchen, and the man who found it is in the living room. Who is he?" "His name is Mark Thompson. He said he was walking past and saw the open door. So he came in to check if everything was okay." "Is he a neighbour?" asked D.S. Pierce. "I don't think so," said P.C. Heron. "The person who called us said he looked like a homeless person." "And does he?" asked D.S. Pierce. "You'll see in a minute." "How old is he?" asked D.I. Bell. "In his mid-40s or late 40s. It's hard to say exactly." Thompson was sitting by himself in the living room when the detectives came in. The first thing they both noticed was his wet clothes and messy appearance. "I'm D.I. John Bell, and this is my colleague D.S. Helen Pierce. We would like to find out what happened." "Well, I was walking along outside," said Thompson nervously, and began to tell his version of events. When he finished, D.I. Bell left the room. The 2 policemen were in the kitchen. "What do you think?" D.I. Bell said quietly. "We've looked around, and it doesn't look like a robbery," said P.C. Heron. "Everything is in its place." "Listen, we'll take him to the station. Can you 2 stay here until the Soko arrives?" "Of course," said P.C. Heron. D.I. Bell went back into the living room. "Could you come with us to the police station, Mr. Thompson?" he asked. "Why?" asked Thompson. Suddenly he looked worried. "It's just standard procedure. We have to do our paperwork," said D.S. Pierce, in a more friendly tone than her colleague. "Do I have a choice?" asked Thompson. "You don't," said D.I. Bell. Chapter 5. As they were leaving, the Soko came in with his bag of equipment. "Hello, Peter," said D.I. Bell to the forensic man. "It's good to see you, John." "Can you take Mr. Thompson to the car?" said D.I. Bell to D.S. Pierce. "I'll be with you in a minute." "What's happened?" asked Peter Webb as they walked to the kitchen. "Dead body. Man in his 70s. The owner of the house is Henry Coote. It looks like it's him. That man with D.S. Pierce found him." "What did he say?" "He's told us his version of events. The door was open, he came in and found the body." "Have you looked around?" asked Peter Webb. "We had a quick look, yes." "And anything suspicious?" "It's hard to say. They will tell you more," said D.I. Bell as they entered the kitchen where the 2 PCs were waiting. Chapter 6. As D.I. Bell was leaving the house, the man across the road was still watching. He walked over to him. "Mr. Benham?" "That's right. Come in for a moment. I'd like to speak to you," he said, looking at Mark Thompson. He was watching them from the back of the car. D.I. Bell followed Benham inside. He moved slowly and seemed ill. "It was me. I called the police," said Benham as they went into his house. "I know," said Inspector Bell. "You reported a robbery." "That's right. I was waiting for you to visit me, to tell you what happened." "And?" Benham explained. "The owner of the house is dead," said D.I. Bell. "Dead?" said Benham, looking shocked at the news. "I have to sit down, Inspector." "Did you know the man?" asked Inspector Bell. "Yes, Henry. We weren't best friends, but I've known him since I was a boy." "I can't believe he's dead. What do you think happened?" "We don't know yet. That's what we hope to find out." "Do you think that man in the car?" Benham said, and didn't finish his question. "As I said, we don't know yet. Our forensic man is in the kitchen now. He's doing his work. When he finishes, we should know more." Chapter 7. Thompson had been to Eastbourne Central Police Station before, and he didn't have good memories of the place. D.S. Pierce took him to an interview room on the first floor and brought him a cup of tea. "You look like you need that," she said, sitting down beside him. "I'll try and be as quick as possible," she said. Then she asked him some questions and wrote down his answers. After 5 minutes, Thompson asked nervously, "Am I under arrest?" "No, we just need to get the version of events correct. We need to understand what exactly happened. It's important at this stage." "Is this normal, to come here?" Thompson asked. "It's easier this way," said D.S. Pierce. When she'd finished writing, she gave the piece of paper to Thompson. "Is that correct?" she asked when he finished reading. "Yes." "Okay, that's it then. You're free to go now." Thompson looked surprised. "Already?" "Yes, but you can finish your tea first. We will contact you, so I need your address." "That's difficult. I'm homeless at the moment." D.S. Pierce wasn't surprised. "I see. And do you have a telephone number we can contact you on?" "No." "Then you will have to report to the police station tomorrow. Let's say at 11 o'clock. Tuesday afternoon. Chapter 8. The two detectives were sitting in D.I. Bell's office discussing what to do next. "Have you spoken to Peter Webb yet?" asked D.S. Pierce. "Yes, a few minutes ago. He's finished his work. He's taken photographs and fingerprints. And they've taken the body away. The post-mortem will be later today or early tomorrow. We'll know more after that." "So, what do you think? What do your instincts tell you?" "Nothing yet. We have a dead body, and Thompson's version of events seems believable," said D.I. Bell. "But what about Terry Benham? He seemed to have some suspicions." "I don't know. He saw Thompson going into Coote's house. When he didn't come out, Benham called the police. It doesn't mean much. What did you think about Mr. Thompson?" "Honestly, I just felt sorry for him." "Why?" "He seemed scared. It's been a hard morning for him, and it's a shame when you see people like that, living on the streets. There are places he could look for help. It's his choice." "It's not always that simple, is it? There's something in his past, I'm sure." "You know he has a police record," said D.I. Bell. "I checked while you were talking to him." "That explains why he was nervous. He didn't want to be here, and he was worried that we could arrest him." "What did he do?" "Theft. Taking people's bags and wallets. It was all connected with drugs." "And has he been to prison?" asked D.S. Pierce. "No, he went for drug treatment, twice. Once 15 years ago, and the second time 5 years ago. They obviously had some hope that they could help him." "What now?" asked D.S. Pierce. We'll wait for the results of the post-mortem. In the meantime, we have to check these burglaries on the Meadows estate. There was another one early this morning. I'll continue with that. Can you have a look into Mr. Coote's background? Find out if he has any family and try and contact them. Of course. And try to find some information about Thompson. Chapter 9. Any news about Coote's family? D.I. Bell asked as he came into D.S. Pierce's office an hour later. Yes and no. I've spoken to the neighbours next door. They're quite new here, but they confirmed that Coote's wife died last year or the year before. And are there any children? They didn't know. They said he didn't have many visitors. Have you spoken to Terry Benham? He must know. I've called him 5 times. He never answers the phone, said D.S. Pierce. But I've had a look through the official records. He has a daughter, Susan, from his first marriage. The woman who died of cancer last year was his second wife. His first wife died of cancer as well. Life hasn't been kind to him. Have you spoken to his daughter? Asked D.I. Bell. Not yet. It seems she's in Scotland. I'm trying to get her phone number. OK, well, we're making some progress. And what about Thompson? 43 years old, no fixed address. The last address he had was over 6 years ago, and that was only for 3 months. Is he local? Asked D.I. Bell. Yes, from Eastbourne. You already know about his criminal record. Any family? Parents both dead. No brothers and sisters. He was registered with a doctor in the medical centre on London Road. Was? They removed him from the list because they hadn't seen him for years. Anything else? That's basically it. Never married, no children. Almost invisible, then. Chapter 10. When Thompson left the police station, he walked in the direction of Henry Coote's house. Near it, he entered a seafront cafe. "Are you looking for some work today?" asked Mario, the owner. "No." "You look tired." "I feel tired," said Thompson, explaining what had happened. "Didn't the police believe you?" Mario asked. "It doesn't look like it," said Thompson, shaking his head. "Tell me, Mario, do you believe me?" "I know you, Mark. That's why I believe you. Listen, sit there and I'll bring you a plate of egg and chips and a mug of tea. And it's on the house today," he said. Mario brought the food and then went to serve the other customers. He had known Thompson for years. As a boy, he came in with his mother after school and always ate chips and drank a glass of milk. He was a normal, polite child until his teenage years. Then, at the age of 13, he stopped coming to the cafe. Mario used to see him outside, and as the months went by, watched the change in Thompson. He had become friends with an older boy, and Mario often saw them sitting on the seafront benches smoking. Mark's style also changed. He started to dress in black, dyed his hair black, and became a punk. At the same time, the two boys started drinking. Sometimes Thompson's mother came in by herself, and Mario always asked about her son. His mother told him that Mark had lost interest in school, although at English and art he was very talented. After finishing school, he went to an art college. His talent flourished there. But then he started with drugs. They caused problems between him and his parents, and he left home. Thompson's mother came less and less often to the cafe. Eventually, she stopped completely. Mario heard nothing for a couple of years then, although he sometimes saw Thompson outside. Then, one day, Thompson came in and asked if he could wash dishes to earn some money. He no longer dressed in black, and although he looked unhealthy, he was happier. Mario gave him some work, and as the weeks went by, he found out more of Thompson's story. He had been taking more and more drugs, and eventually had left college. But at the darkest moment, he had met a girl. She had saved him, But then she had suddenly left. Thompson had started to live on the streets to escape his old life. His parents had asked him to return home. That had been 15 years ago. His relationship with them had improved, but he had never returned home. Now Thompson stayed where he could. He worked for Mario sometimes and often ate in the cafe. When Mario asked him about his plans, the answer was always the same. "I'm just waiting at the moment. Something will happen." As Mario stood behind the counter watching Thompson eat, he remembered those words. Maybe this is the moment. Maybe something has happened, he thought to himself.